SNES Classic? I don't think so.
I'll tell you in just a moment.
That would be interesting if it wasn't. That was a launch title, I think, on Super.
It's
No, it
not.
wasn't. It was Pilot. Was Pilot Wings on Super, or was it launched for 64?
Both.
I think it was 64.
I think
I
it
think it was
was both
64.
because I remember getting Super and actually playing Pilot Wings first.
Really?
I'm almost positive, man. I know I did for 64 for sure. Like, without a doubt. We got Pilot Wings instead of Mario. But I want to say I had a day one copy of Pilot Wings.
You think you
Or-
put any of the wrestling games on the
No.
N64?
Oh my God.
Those, my
Oh
God,
my
the
God.
amount of hours played in WCW, NWO, and all of those.
And Revenge and No Mercy, WrestleMania 2000. Those games, like, you just wish that they would just make the new ones like that. You know, off topic, people do update the rosters on the PC versions of that stuff.
Oh yeah, wow.
They have updated rosters, just like they had the updated Tecmo Bowl carts, which is kind of cool.
Mhm.
But I mean, I don't know if doing these classic consoles is lucrative for everyone else either.
Right. No, absolutely not. I think Nintendo already has most of this already paved, and they're just recreating, reprinting money, pretty much.
Right.
You know?
They have the biggest hype out of any console, especially with the nostalgia and the younger, youthful crowd of just dying and pining for pixel art games. They have no matter how many they make, they're sold. You know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. It's I do believe that. So Sega's already done it, but I think it's unfortunate they did it the other way. It's really unfortunate that they made theirs the super cheap Walmart style machine. If they,
Well, I don't know if those are Sega licensed.
They are.
It was?
Yeah, you can play cards in them and everything.
Okay.
If they had waited, and mind you, there was no way for them to ever predict this, but in a different, in an alternate universe, they didn't do it, and they were waiting, and Nintendo came out with theirs first. Sega would have put together a completely different package and sold it as the Sega Genesis Classic. You know what I mean? It would have looked like a Genesis, I think. It probably wouldn't have played games, but it may have. It would have probably came with like a better library. They would have took it more seriously as opposed to just throwing it on the bargain bin shelf for people to buy. And that's unfortunate.
I feel like Sega was always too far ahead, honestly, and that was kind of their downfall. Sega was the first one that had online play, I think, because it had the modem that you could get.
Mm-mm.
Wasn't the first one?
X-Band. It was actually for Sega and Super.
Oh, it worked for both?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was just Sega only, but
but that was
I
a
think
third-party company anyway.
Yeah, well, I think they may have jumped the gun with Sega CD. I feel like that may have just been too much of a, I don't want to say niche thing, but
it was for sure.
It was actually pretty expensive just for an add-on, and I don't think it got enough of a following because they never really had a whole lot of games for it. I don't know. I feel like they may have just kind of always been one too many steps ahead, and that was maybe the downfall of them.
Yeah, well, same thing with 3DO. 3DO was if you turn on a 3DO right now versus a PlayStation 1, it outperforms it by like 100 as far as the way the games look. Especially ports between the both. The 3DO is better, but it also played like video CDs, and it played CDs at the time. At a time when that stuff wasn't very common, and nobody had any use for that thing to be. I think it was five when it came out. I think it was 500, 400 or 500. And back then, that's even way more money. But Sega had. Then they had the 32X. You know what I mean?
Right, and it's like this technology
was unnecessary.
And it's like this technology that wasn't commonplace that people didn't even understand. So only a handful of people are even going to care about it, and even a smaller handful of those people are going to be able to afford it.
And well, they were trying to do what Nintendo don't, man. They were trying to do everything extra, but and then Dreamcast. Dreamcast was crazy to look at first. Everything was 60 FPS on Dreamcast. Yep. Everything
Sega
was.
Sega always had better performance hardware. Better performing consoles. The Sega Genesis was more powerful than the Super Nintendo.
Which is a shame because it didn't look or sound nearly as good. It really didn't. It wasn't as colorful. The sound chip on Sega, if used correctly, is fantastic, but on most occasions it was horrible.
The one game that I remember that blew me away on Sega that ran really well was the Tasmanian Devil game.
Yeah,
that game was. I think that game was
looked
like
great.
It was a second too, because the spinning was so fast and smooth.
Yeah,
it was phenomenal.
That Gunstar, Gunstar. There's so much happening on Gunstar, and you like almost never see any slowdown.
Are these great things that you think? Is this enough for Sega to make? You think they're really going to make anything? Another retro system?
Not now, I don't think. I think that they. I think
they've
that
they've already
diluted their water. Yeah,
they've already been there too much.
I feel like if they did, which they won't do, man. That's just wishful thinking. If we got a new Dreamcast,
I would
Dreamcast. I would wait in line for that, man. Dreamcast. Seeing that versus anything else at the time, just watching a kickoff in 2K was crazy. Then seeing Ready to Rumble for the first time, you couldn't believe it. Like the skin was stretching and stuff, and I don't know, man. I think
Taxi ran
Crazy Taxi. It ran like the arcade. It was the first console to do arcade ports all the way.
Yep.
Like Saturn had Daytona, but it wasn't the arcade. Dreamcast was. It was.
Yeah.
Power Stone. Exactly like the arcade. The Marvel's Capcom series. PlayStation version you couldn't even tag. And Dreamcast version was perfect. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I think
that's
awesome.
the only console I would ever buy. Maybe because we all know I love Dreamcast and Sega, but I like with Nintendo and SNES, I own a lot of the games already that I want. And I know that the three of us are kind of like, the smaller group of people who own retro games, but that's kind of why I don't want a SNES or an NES Classic. I own the games on the original consoles with the original controllers. Like I don't have a need for it. It's really easy to use, and I would have it hooked up like on my computer, like right here on this monitor. But I just don't really need it that much because I feel I already have it. Why do I need to spend more money on it?
The only console I've ever researched in the last, let's say year or two of trying to get it my hands on and buy again was a Dreamcast. I almost bought a Dreamcast bundled with like 20 games that was being sold.
Yeah, it's a great Dreamcast was a great machine. And I think everything after that really is too recent. Right? I think everything after that's too recent.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And when you get to that, when you get to that level, it's when you can just buy those games on the current gen consoles, virtual stores or whatever, eShops, right? Sega doesn't have an eShop.
Well, Sega is working a lot with Nintendo. You can go on Nintendo and get the Space Channel 5. Like you can get some of those games.
Can you really?
eShop. Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't know that at all. So unless Nintendo releases the Dreamcast Classic, you won't.
That would be great. That would be great if Nintendo took over that and released it. It would be phenomenal. Yeah. I think if Sega did it themselves, it would be good. But if Nintendo just worked at it or had their hands involved just a little bit, it would be to the next level.
I think it would be much better than if Sega did it. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yep.
Well, closing thoughts for me personally. I'm not into the classic minis right now. All reports say that Star Fox 2 would be why you got it, right? Everybody's saying it's not even great. They're saying it's terrible performance. It's unfinished. It's garbage.
Yep.
I think that the Super NES and NES Classics are cool. I think, for somebody to maybe just have them in their living room, ready to play at some point for when they have company. Hey, man, you want to jump on this real quick before we go out? Sure. That type of thing. Most people aren't going to go home and grind through all those games. Somebody out there is, right? Somebody out there is.
Yes.
But for the most part, I feel like that group of people is not going to be doing that. And it's not for me right now. No, I don't see myself buying any of them. Any of them.
I would say I have to agree. Not really my thing. I think you hit the nail on the head right in the beginning of just saying it's a great showpiece. To have something on display. People walk in. I think it's a really cool conversation starter. Maybe have a few friends over for a party or something. You throw it on for 20 minutes. Everyone has a great time with it, and that might be it.
Right. Or even leave it on in the background of the party. Just it's on the TV. You don't want people watching TV, but if they're gonna play games, hey, whatever. Everybody's having a good time.
Right.
All right.
I can't imagine. I don't think I could see myself like coming home from work one night and be like, man, I can't wait to spend 4 hours playing my SNES Classic.
Right.
You know, it's not happening. You know?
No, it's not. It's not for me. What about you, Chris?
No.
I don't. It's not for me either. Only because I think I'm that small niche of people who own all these games already. I don't really want to go out and spend the money on them again. Although I do really see a market for it. I see a lot of people wanting them, and I think it is really cool. Like you guys keep saying, to put it on your shelf, and it's there. You know, hey, you want to play this real quick? I think that's really, really cool. And they're small; they're the size of your hand.
Right.
So it's really cool as well. If there was a new console ever to come out, like the Dreamcast would be like the next retro one I'm looking forward to. I'm really kind of looking forward to the Atari as well. I do own like 30 or 40 Atari games, and I could go play that. But I think it maybe just because it's an Atari system, it's kind of like I want to give them a little bit of money, maybe just because I don't know.
Support it, yeah.
Yeah, you want to support it, man. There's nothing wrong with that. I get that.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
that's me with the Commodore. You know, like that, I could see like, you know, this is just a cool thing. So I could throw some money to that and support that or whatever. But again, the SNES, we did that our whole life growing up. I could go to any one of your houses and play it if I want to. I have a couple of things myself,
right.
So.
And also, they've been reselling you those games for 15 years. I don't need you to.
Exactly.
I don't need to get. I don't need you to. Mind you, I haven't been buying them, but like I don't need for you to sell me them again. I don't.
Right.
I don't.
They're just money hungry. They're money hungry, and they know that you're going to get them.
Yeah, exactly.
Printing money.
I was just going to say, to my closing argument is, hopefully in 2 weeks when we do our next podcast, everyone's still alive, because we're going to a Tough Mudder in a couple of days.
Oh boy.
And, most of these guys are coming with me, and I'm hoping that they come back home with me alive.
Oh boy, who's going? Who's going?
You're talking to one of them right here.
Oh, Kev's doing the Tough Mudder.
Yeah, Corey's joining us. We've got maybe 14, 15 people in total, so it should be a really good time. I've been doing Spartan races. I have a good time with them. They're a lot of fun. They're a good way to test yourself, and if you don't do the obstacles, even just doing the walking, running, jogging is a really good exercise. It's a really good achievement. It's something to do. I'm looking forward to it, and I think it's going to be really cool to actually do it with some of you guys. So yeah,
I'm looking forward to coming home.
That sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. So yeah, make sure thanks everybody for listening in. Again, download link will be on Spreaker, the Filling the Void podcast network, as well as on iHeartRadio. And I hope that you guys listen to all of our podcasts and that you listen to us next time.
Yeah.
Take it easy, folks.